to 40 Fast and Future 2021 edition. Today is Courtney Kleeb, and welcome, Courtney. Congratulations on the nomination. Would you mind introducing yourself and walking us through a little bit about what brought you to this today?
Oh, perfect. I'm Courtney Kleeb. I'm a director of surgical services in a community hospital outside of New Orleans, Louisiana. And I'm here today because I was nominated for one of the top 40 in surgical services. I've worked my entire career in the perioperative area, starting with being a scrub tech and then going back to nursing school. And then very fortunately had a good group of other leaders and supporters that pushed me to, drive myself a little bit better. And I've been in a director role for many years. And I'm fortunate that you guys reached out to me with this nomination, and I'm excited to be here and talk through it and how I got there and what I'm looking forward to.
Congratulations, Courtney. Did you have a mentor, and how had they, if so, how did they help you rise to this level today?
I did have a mentor, and it's actually not even a traditional, nursing director. I was fortunate. I worked in an environment where I had a group of physicians and an anesthesiologist, believe it or not, that really kind of took oversight of the department. And they took me under their wing and really pushed me to delve into leadership, take that first role. And it was a great experience because I was able to really kind of get their perspective on things, and they really just kind of made me tag along to everything. They're like, we're going to go to this, or we're doing this. You need to come, you need to sit beside us, you need to see what's going on and moving forward. And I'm overly fortunate because even to this day, if there are things that I have questions about or I don't understand, or I even want a practitioner's viewpoint on it, I can reach out to them, and they're almost immediately available.
Terrific, terrific. So sort of a mentorship by committee.
Yep, absolutely.
Are you mentoring anyone yourself?
Actually, yes, I do have someone. The hospital corporation that I work for has a program called the Director Development Program. And so they take applicants for it every year, and they go through a selection process, and then they're matched with directors, in their area or availability. And so it's about an 8 to 9 month program, and I'll have someone on site with me for that entirety of the time.
Okay, so interesting. You'll actually literally have an on-site protege, if you will.
Yes, sir. The candidate is here for 9 months, and there's a very structured program that we have with the organization about learning objectives, goals. They have a big project that they have to do, which enacts change, and we work with them on that, which, not only is great experience for them, but it's also something that will help the environment here that we're working on to be more efficient.
Interesting. And so are her day-to-day activities, how much are they sort of being your shadow, and how much of it are independent but check-ins with you? How often are you checking in with that person?
So at the very beginning, when she first got here, it was very much a shadow. Just whatever I was doing, whatever interactions that I was doing, she was coming along. And then just slowly but surely, as we've gone along and we've kind of made some goals, and we've kind of met some milestones, I've started slowly just taking a step back and letting her lead some of the interactions or the day-to-day activities, or even leading some of the meetings that I normally would. And as it progresses, the goal is that I'm still there to support her, but she's leading these objectives or these goals or these meetings that we have, so that when she finishes, she can slide into one of these positions and not miss a step.
Interesting. Well, that's interesting. Okay, great. Let's turn our attention to your perspective, right? As a up and coming leader, you have found yourself working for hospitals that are decades old, maybe even older than that. And so the possibility that you see yourself thrown into an antiquated system or policy, can you give an example And if so, how do you phase it out?
Yes, I think that it's like an onion, to be honest. Like you can peel off one layer and it reveals more and more layers of systems or processes that are just kind of old and not necessarily up to date. One of them, I tend to find that a common thread tends to be like the charge capture system, and how do
Okay.
you bill for charges and supplies and things like that. And it tends to be, while it's overly important, there's not a whole lot of resources that tend to fall into it. So in order to get that up and working efficiently, so you can have your billing in appropriately, that you can have your charges posted, all of the above, you have to be able, not with just that, but anything, whatever the process is, you have to be able to quantify it, right? How is it affecting your efficiencies in the OR? How is it affecting your monthly, yearly budget in the OR? How is this affecting productivity? All of the above. And once you kind of pull that data and able to kind of pull some resources about what other practices are out there, you can present that to your executive and your C-suite to get to the direction that you need to get to be more, up to date and more with, the up and coming processes that, are industry standards across the country.
Got it. So charge capture sounds like it's the one that you've identified. So is it could additional like protected meetings with other stakeholders or executives in the hospital help? Could software help?
Oh, absolutely. I think that one of the most underrated options is an electronic health record in
Okay.
whatever you're using. Obviously, there are several different versions throughout the country that hospitals utilize. And I think that if the resources were put into those to, have that process kind of more up to date, I think it would be more efficient, across the board, from the time the patient comes into the hospital, during the procedure, after the procedure, to the time that the patient leaves the hospital. It's overly important to have your big key stakeholders in on those meetings. Obviously, your finance people are big on that. They are a huge portion of being able to kind of push that agenda, along with people like with your throughput, like case management, admissions, stuff like that as well.
Great. That's insightful. Thank you. So so now turning our attention to this again, director development program. So there's no specific path in many hospitals and hospital systems to becoming a director. Perhaps at yours, there's a little bit more of one with the director development program. What in that program is, do you feel like is needing to be emphasized because there isn't otherwise a ascension pathway for learning, like maybe capital budgets, for example? Or said another way, where does the director development program really move the needle, solve a problem, fill a gap, or teach something that is otherwise untaught?
I What I really like about the director development program is that it does give you step-by-step education, one-on-one, and learning for that financial and productivity aspect of these positions. When you're nurses and you go through nursing school, you know about taking care of your patient, what is safe, what is quality care, patient to nurse ratios, things like that. But once you get into leadership, the expectation is that you understand all these financial aspects and this whole other side that you don't get in your nursing school. And during the director development program, they spend a lot of time making sure that when you enter into these roles and positions and you're doing these duties, that you understand labor and productivity targets, a capital budget, a month to date budget, and where your spend is, where you're over, where you're under, and just the different aspects that go along with that. I think that's one of the best parts of the director development program, because you're not learning on the job. You're not learning as you're going into these meetings. You already go in having a good foundation that you can build upon when you're going in to talk to your executives, or you're sitting down with division people about what your goals are, what your monthly, yearly, 5-year goals are. for the department.
Labor productivity targets, budgets. That sounds terrific. Those are good answers. Thank you very much. What investment would you like your C-suite to make a more efficient and profitable operating room?
I would love for not only my C-suite, but a lot of C-suites and hospital systems to really sit down and do an overall look and inventory of your big equipment and your supplies in the operating room, and then be able to create, hey, in the next year, what is going to be old, what is going to be outdated, what do we need to do to update to be competitive with other hospitals in the market, or to be attractive to those new physicians that are coming out of their residency or their fellowship to come here, and then be able to kind of build like that 1 year, 3 year, 5 year look, and go ahead and plan and budget for it, so you're always up to date. The newest technology, the cutting technology, what these guys are used to working on in their residency, you already have it, so that you are the gym in the area that they want to come and work at.
That sounds to me like a depreciation schedule, or you are doing a little bit more of a long-term planning kind
Yes.
of perspective in the area of equipment and materials. That sounds terrific. Good answer. So, what is on your wish list for 2022? What would you like to do in terms of a New Year's resolution for your department?
I would really like, I think that sometimes operating rooms, because everything in it is expensive, right? There's nothing that you can buy that's $10 or $1 here or whatever. Everything is expensive. I would love to have a full upgrade on the scope system, but even more so, actually, I would like a total OR refresh. I would love to come in and just from top to bottom, new walls, new floors, new lights, everything, just to kind of spruce it up a little bit, make it a little bit brighter, a little bit newer looking. I used to have an old CEO at an organization years ago who would say, look, if it looks tired, we need to make it look fresh. We need to make it look like it's just had a full 8 hours of sleep. And I've always taken that and taken it with me wherever I've been, because I do feel that your patients, your surgeons, your employees that work there, if it looks nice, it makes you feel nice. I think everybody works better in that type of environment.
Sure. Good. Okay, good. What now? Imagine Courtney Kleeb coming up, her first role in management or her first role in the operating room. What advice do you have for your younger self?
Honestly, to be more confident. If I could go back and tell my younger self in my first supervisor role in the operating room, be more confident, and don't be scared to fail, and not to be scared to take those risks. I think sometimes in the OR, it's very routine, right? If it's broken, you fix it. If it's cut, you suture it, right? And so I think sometimes we can be very concrete thinkers in that aspect. And you're worried if you try something new, or you try something different, that it may not be received well, or you may not do well. But just because you fail on your first try doesn't mean that it's not something to try again, or to take a step back, reassess, and do something different to get where you needed to be.
Good. That's great. Okay, and then what's Courtney Kleeb's superpower?
I think I get this. This is the feedback that I get, and obviously it's grown over the years. For me, I think my superpower is the ability to really stay calm and focused in any situation. It's a tense environment back there. There's 10,000 moving parts at any given point, and whether you're working at a big level 1 academic, or you're working at a smaller community hospital, there's always those times where things don't go from A, B, and C. Sometimes you go from A to Z and you have no clue how you got there. But you have to be able to take a step back, have a 30,000 foot view of what's going on to be able to manage that appropriately and to, you know, get yourself and your team and your patient where you need to be.
Totally appropriate for an OR nurse, right?
Yes, sir.
Well, that's excellent. Thank you very much. That concludes today's interview with Courtney Kleeb, our 40 Fast and Future nominee 2021. Thank you very much, Courtney. Keep up the great work.
Thank you very much.